And we are back. Guys, it's been a while. I don't even know how long. It seems like, dog years or something. It might be 7 years. We don't even know it. We've been really busy. I know you guys have missed it. We're a little bit late on our podcast here, but we're back today for some Angels podcast. And DJ, I just have to say, the greatest catch in the history of sports right there over my shoulder. Jim Edmonds, one of the greatest center fielders of all time, borderline Hall of Famer. What do you think about that catch, DJ? Just tell us.
Well, when you stand 150 feet from the plate and you got to run 150 feet to catch a ball, not my thing.
Isn't that amazing, though? He can cover all that ground. It's impressive. And, he hit like 40 homers a couple times. I'm a big Edmonds fan. I know you are too.
That year that he played with the Cubs didn't happen. Kind of like Michael Jordan playing with the Wizards didn't happen. You block certain things out in your life, David. Things go wrong sometimes. Just, that never happened. Him playing for the Cubs is one of those things that never happened. However, David, my background is the greatest manager in the game right now, Mr. Joe Madden.
Greatest manager in the game right now. Wow.
You betcha.
Stretch.
The man, Joe Madden.
Here's all I'm going to say about that, DJ. When it comes to the Angels, you've been more wrong than anyone. So it's hard for me to take your Joe Madden love seriously. Because last year, DJ, you predicted the Angels to win the division. And why? Because they signed one player. Now, you were right on your one player, which was Dylan Bundy. But I remember talking to you about this, and it was just a complete head scratcher. You were talking about how Albert Pujols was, going to make a big comeback, and it was so. Needless to say, 4th place last year, DJ. So why don't you go ahead and review the 2020 Angels?
26-34 last year, like you said, 4th place in the AL West. Pujols, yes, he's still the man. 3rd on the team in RBI last year, David. 3rd on the team in RBI. That man will knock in runs till he's 80 years old if they want him to. He can't run.
DJ, this was the same argument you used for David Bodie. And the David Bodie thing is going to live in infamy. I can already tell. Last I looked, he's hitting 175. He is 3rd on the team in RBIs. But so being 3rd on the team in RBIs is just not that big a deal when your team sucks. And so that's what I want to say about Pujols last year, being 3rd on the team in RBIs.
Well, here's the thing, man. When you have Mike Trout as one of the guys ahead of you, that's not even fair. He's the greatest player in the game. So Pujols is right there, man. He's the best player on the team still. He's 50 years old. He's our age, man. That's old, as we know. So
it is old.
Trout last year, 17 bombs, 46 ribbies, hit 281 with a 390 on base. Joe, Adele, and Jared Walsh made their debuts last year. A couple prospects we talked about the previous podcast with the Angels. Pitching besides Dylan Bundy wasn't good, and that was the problem, David. I thought they had a little bit more. I thought the acquisition of Dylan Bundy would push them over the top. He ended up just being the only guy. It was like Dylan Bundy and pray for rain for the next 4 days, which is never good in your rotation. So I got to pat myself on the back for the Dylan Bundy rebound, but as a whole, David, it became the problem. They totally choked on the mound big time. And David, here's another thing I wanted to kind of talk to a little bit too with you about. So I want to kind of ask you something here. We're talking about the recap a little bit. So Mike Trout just finished number 9 season in the majors last year. He's in his 10th year right now. And if he has an awesome season, which he's already doing this year, unbelievable season, and he finishes the year with 10 solid seasons, and he got hurt and blew up his knee and was done for his entire career. David, is he a Hall of Famer?
DJ, he's a Hall of Famer if he doesn't play this year. That's where I'm at with Mike Trout. He's one of the greatest, and as one of the greatest, he should be in the Hall of Fame. No brainer. Even if he doesn't play this year, he should have been in the Hall of Fame.
But he's got no magic numbers, David.
He's got no magic numbers, but when you're the best, he's already got Hall of Fame war right now. Fastest player to 100 homers, fastest player to 100 steals. I just can't even say enough about him. So he's 100% a Hall of Famer. Yeah. We're not talking about 9 good seasons. We're talking
dominant.
about 9 years at we're going to go further than dominant.
Yeah.
9 years as the best.
Yeah.
You go 9 MVP type years. I don't even know how many MVPs he's got. He's a Hall of Famer, man.
3, yeah. Yeah, he's unbelievable. I mean, I think there might, if I'm not mistaken, of all those years, there may be just 2 of those seasons where he wasn't like top 5 in MVP voting, something like that. It's unbelievable the amount of he never stops, and he hasn't stopped this year, man. And it's unbelievable how good he is. He was a highlight of this team last year, and it's why I get so excited about this team, David. It's like you have the best player in the world, you have a Hall of Famer around him, you have Shohei Ohtani who does everything. You've got all these pieces.
Wait a minute.
You've got some rookies that are coming up. You got Rendon. Yes, sir. Go for it.
Listen, I love Shohei, but we've got to pump the brakes here a little bit on Shohei, okay?
Nope.
His ERA last year, 37. And also, DJ, listen, I love Shohei, but I'm a little bit from Missouri on Shohei on a little bit. And the reason why is the dude can't stay on the field. So it's like Aaron Judge. Yeah, Aaron Judge is the man when he plays for 48 games a year. And so I love Shohei. I hope he continues dominating this year. He's been great as a pitcher and as a hitter. I think he's leading the league in home runs. Talk to me in August or September, and I'll believe.
Well, I'm not with you on that one. I think he's great. I think he's awesome. I will ask you this, though. I know we're kind of getting off track a little bit here, and we can talk about this later maybe, but I do want to ask you your opinion on this before we get going. So if you were in charge of this team, the manager, David, would you let Ohtani pitch and play offense? Would you make him do one or the other? Would you make him do both? What do you do with a guy like that? What would you do personally?
I don't know. I've really thought about this really hard. I tend to believe, DJ, as bad as I don't want to say it, that they do need to just pick one. And the reason, again, we're going back to injuries. And would you be better with an MVP caliber hitter or a good hitter and part of a good pitcher? I mean, I don't know the answer to that question. So I don't know. You're a baseball guy, a manager. What do you say?
This is a unique situation, man, and it doesn't obviously happen in the majors very much. If I had to pick between the two, I would have him as a position player. The Angels, David, they've got the offense. I really believe this, man. I love the offense, and we'll go over it in a little bit here. But obviously the problem for all these years has been pitching. So right now, maybe it makes a little bit of sense for him to pitch as well. But to me, the Angels need to start spending some money on pitching, and they need to do it like immediately because you've got the greatest player in the world. You've got a bunch of young guys coming up around him. You've got some studs. You got Rendon. You got all these guys. Like you're a high market franchise. It's time to get pitching, David. It really is. And this team could take off, man. They could be really good if they could solve this problem. And if they had to choose, with Ohtani, I'm playing him every day as opposed to once every 5 days with that talent he's got, man. It's a no-brainer for me. Like you said, he's leading the league in homers this year. He's a freak athlete, man. It's unbelievable he's doing that, but just kind of crazy, nonetheless.
Yeah, it is kind of crazy. I tend to agree with you. I wonder how much the way they work him messes kind of with the chemistry of the team. We were talking a little bit about that off air. I'm not talking about like players' feelings and all that. I'm just talking about I don't know how to explain it, the chemistry of the team. So, I think if I remember right, they don't play him every day. Maybe there's an off day here or there before he pitches or after. And again, I'm like you. I think you want to play him every day. Man, he's dominant. I watched him pitch a couple starts. He looks awesome at times, and then his control leaves him at times. And, again, he can't stay on the field. So I just tend to lean towards what you said. Just put him in offense, let him play every day, and forget about the pitching thing. But it's so tempting because that's what this team needs. So, rough year last year. Saw some signs. DJ, did you know Joe Adell was statistically the worst player in MLB last year? Kind of crazy because he was one of their top prospects. When they brought him up, they really needed him, had a rough time. But that doesn't mean that's who he is, but rough season for him last year. So, DJ, key additions, key losses. I'll run through some losses here. You tell me if I got them all. Tommy LaStella, good player right there. We talked a lot about him in previous podcasts. Noah Ramirez, Hansel Robles, Kenyon Middleton, Cam Bedrosian, Matt Andrisi, Julio Tehran, Brian Goodwin, Jemiah Jones, and Andrelton Simmons. And so one thing I noticed there, the bullpen that blew 14 saves last year, they pretty much flushed it. So DJ, which one of those losses is going to hurt the most?
Well, I thought LaStella was a tough loss for them a little bit. Like I like him personally a lot, obviously, because he was a part of the 2016 Cubs, and I got to see him play a lot. Like you said, with all these bullpen guys, they just kicked them all to the curb, man. Out you go. It's exactly what happened here. You see all these names, and you're like, they just trashed them, and I don't blame them at all for that. I really don't.
Think about it, DJ. If they convert those 14 saves.
Yeah,
they're 40-20.
Yeah,
that's wait a minute. Then they're a playoff type team, but. So I don't blame them at all. It
comes down to the pitching, man. It was not just the starters; it was the bullpen too. It was terrible last year, and it continues to be a problem for the Angels with that offense they've got. LaStella's a utility guy. I think Joe Madden loved having a guy like him because he can play third, he can play second, he can play first a little bit, move around so much for you, and statistically off the bench, he's one of the best pinch hitters in the last few years here. So. He can do a whole lot for you. He's nice to have. They kind of got that a little bit now in David Fletcher, but still, LaStella was a tough loss. And one of the other guys I wanted to mention that Michael Hermosillo, he was with the Cubs organization for a little while. Actually, is with the Cubs now, but he's a local kid from Ottawa High School, another school that my alma mater plays against a lot, and so. This kid was a stud in high school. He was with the Angels for a long time there to start his career. Now is with the Cubs, so he's excited about that. Obviously, coming home to be able to play with the Cubs is really cool. But not too much as far as the losses go, Dave. They really did not lose very much. When Tommy LaStella is your worst loss, and Andrelton Simmons is a little bit of a hit. Defensively, he's a stud. He, not the greatest of hitters, but nothing you can't overcome. So I wasn't too disappointed at all with the offseason.
Yeah, I agree. They had the ready-made replacement of Fletcher. So, I'm with you. And honestly, with Simmons, we'll talk about that here in a second, but they basically picked up the equivalent of Simmons, maybe even a little bit better defensively. And so I don't think they lost much there either. So here's the ads. Raciel Iglesias, that was the big one for the winter, closure for the Reds, exactly what they needed. Steve Cishek, Alex Cobb, Tony Watson, again, a big ad for the bullpen. Kurt Suzuki, Scott Shebler, Jose Quintana, Jose Iglesias, and Dexter Fowler. And just let me know if I missed anybody there.
Yeah, you pretty much got them all there, man. That's the big ones. Out of all those guys, man, I like the Iglesias one because we just talked about the bullpen, and we were talking about when this happened, David. What a steal. The Angels stole him from the Reds, and what a great move that ended up being for them. I really think the back end of this bullpen has taken a step forward with that signing, especially when you get a guy like that to close. I really, really liked it. Jose Iglesias, man, sneaky good year last year too. Really good player as well. I really like him. Q was a good pickup. They needed a starter. If Q finds it, he's a really good pitcher, and I'm not sure he's going to find it completely. But I didn't mind it. I thought they did a pretty decent job in the offseason. I was kind of looking for a little bit more, though. I'm going to be honest with you, David. I really was a little bit disappointed with the direction they went in. It seems like every year they just add a monster piece to this mix. They didn't really do it this offseason, which was a little bit disappointing. They did improve the bullpen, no doubt, which was a huge step in the right direction. I mean, but when you Q and Alex Cobb are your guys that you get for the rotation, I mean, that's okay. I mean, I'm not totally against it, but I really believe that they should have got somebody a whole lot better and bigger than they did. So.
Yeah, I totally agree. I would just give them a C plus on the offseason. Kind of sideways, really. I mean, they improved the bullpen, which, again, if you're a general manager, you can look at that and say, hey, man, we're not that far away. But I'm with you. They needed at least one more good pitcher. I don't think Quintana is that guy. He's the back of the rotation type arm right now. And so there's a lot of guys that would have looked good right there. Trevor Bauer would have looked really good right there.
Yep.
And so we just would have liked to have seen a little bit more. But hey, this is a good team. This is a really good team. And so DJ, why don't you run through the lineup for the Angels?
David Fletcher, like we were just talking about, he's your second baseman. He's kind of the utility knife on this team, can do all kinds of different things. Shohei Ohtani, DHing a lot, playing a little outfield. Mike Trout in center field, absolute stud, Hall of Famer if he gets one more year dominant. Anthony Rendon, your third baseman, batting cleanup. Jared Walsh and Albert Pujols will play a lot of first. Justin Upton in left. Jose Iglesias at short. Max Stassi's your catcher. And Dexter Fowler was penciled in to start in right field this year. Unfortunately, he had a monster ACL injury, which cost him this entire season, which is not good. So look for Jared Walsh and Joe Adell to also help out in the outfield there with that going down. Dex is a great guy. I hated seeing that happen to him. I wish him nothing but the best and a speedy recovery. Very sad when something like that happens to a guy. But, man, David, this lineup, holy cow. I mean, it's powerful, man. And Justin Upton's kind of a key in there. If he can hit like he's capable of, it's going to help him even more. But, man, there's some definite studs in that lineup. What do you think, David?
Yeah, I love it. I think the other guy that's come along was really cool. Jared Walsh was a stud down the stretch last year, kind of unheralded, and he's hitting well this year. And so I guess from what I understand, they're playing him in the outfield, and obviously he's going to take Pujols' spot next year. But yeah, I love it. I love the addition of Suzuki. He's a really good hitting catcher to put in there with Stassi. We talked about Iglesias. He was underrated. I think he's a better bat than Simmons was and equal in the field. And of course, Ohtani, he looks like the man. Just so exciting to watch play. This is one of the better lineups, I think, in the league. One of the better defensive lineups in the league. When you got Iglesias out up the middle, you're doing all right. So I love this lineup. And so here comes the problem, DJ, this pitching. So tell us a little bit about the pitching.
Oh, man. So Dylan Bundy is your ace. And, here's the thing, David. I love Dylan Bundy. There's no secret about this. But Dylan Bundy's a number 2 guy. I really believe that. Like, if he's your 2, you're in really good shape. He's not necessarily an ace. He's not consistent enough yet to be an ace. I don't believe that. I think like you said, man, Trevor Bauer would have made such a difference this offseason. Very unfortunate they didn't get him. Dylan Bundy had an awesome season last year. Griffin Canning, Andrew Haney, Alex Cobb, Shohei Ohtani, and Q at the back end there. So you've got 6 options to go with that pitching. It's a little bit better than it was last year, which kind of makes me a little happier. But, man, I still, like you said, I still think they could have really gone and got two key guys to shore up that rotation. They did a good job of getting some bullpen guys. I don't know, man. I'm a little bit off on it. I think they're taking steps in the right direction, but I don't know, man. It just seems like they should have just attacked it and went after it. When you got Mike Trout needs to be in the playoffs, David. Best player in the game. It's good for the sport. Like, he's got to be there. And I saw a stat the other day that blow your mind on the amount of times he's been in the playoffs. It's nothing really. So I'm really hoping they can understand they've got a little limited time here with him as dominant as he is, and it'll be a few more years of him dominating, I'm sure. And they got this window; they need to go for it, man. So, what do you think of the rotation?
Yeah, I agree. Ohtani can live up to potential and last. That would be a big boost, but they still needed at least one more top of the rotation guy, another 2 or 3 at least, and they didn't really get that. Canning's not bad. He's good in the back end, and you can say the same thing about Haney. Alex Cobb, he's nearing the end. And so this is the Achilles heel right here. They improved the bullpen. They've got a great lineup, but that starting pitching is just a little bit too shaky for me. So what do you think, DJ, are the strengths and weaknesses of this team?
Definitely the strengths is their offense. We talked about this. You got the best player in the world on your team. It's a definite strength. Rendon, Trout, Ohtani. the young guys, Pujols. I'm going to throw Pujols in there until he falls off the face of the earth because he's still going to knock in runs for you. David Fletcher's a good little player, man. I've been enjoying watching him play, David. Didn't know too much about him coming in this year, but, man, that guy's just legit. Play the outfield, third, second, everywhere, basically. I like him a lot. I thought he was, kind of sneaky as far as a good player there. You got Adell and Walsh, Iglesias. Man, it's a good lineup. It's exciting, man. Angels fans gotta love that lineup. You were talking about earlier how it's one of the best. It really is, and they can carry them in the American League a little bit here. And it's gonna be interesting to see what they can do this year. I'm pretty high on this team. I'm gonna spoiler alert pretty high on them like I was last year. Didn't live up to expectation last year, but I know they're trending in the right direction, man. So I'm going with that offense. What do you think's their strength?
I just put the starting power. When you got Trout and Rendon, I think I underrated him a little bit. He's definitely lived up to the hype. They gave him a huge contract, and I thought it was kind of dumb at the time, to be honest with you. But he's lived up to it so far. So he's a really good player. Obviously, Ohtani, if he can continue to live up to the hype, that's huge. And so I just kind of went with star power. Bundy, is a good player. Iglesias has been a great closer. So they've got a really great core of guys. It's just, like you said, they got a window here. Can they build on that? Can they start making steps to make that happen? And so I think we both know what the weakness is, DJ. I'm going to go with the starting pitching. How about you?
Yeah, I can't ignore it. I just wish they, like I said, they would have got more. There's some potential there. I think Bundy and Ohtani, if he stays healthy, and Q can rebound, and those other three guys are the question marks for me big time. I don't know. We'll see what we get out of them. But to me, man, it's like you go into a playoff series, especially a long one with that rotation, and I get very worried about it. So I'm definitely going with the starting pitching. I think the relief pitching took a big step for the positive. The starting pitching just not so much. So that's definitely the weakness of the team, I think. So.
Yeah, I agree. What position battles are they going to have this year?
Well, with Joe Adell and Jared Walsh and Pujols, and you had Dex in there for a little while, it was going to be interesting to see how Madden would work those four guys into the lineup somehow. It's gotten a little easier now with Dex out, but still, you've got those three. Pujols is getting a little older, obviously. He needs his at-bats. Walsh and Odell. Odell, like you said, statistically very bad last year, but still needs to get up there. He's short a lot of promise. So how he mixes and matches and sticks those three in there is kind of the battle that I'm interested in seeing. I don't know how he's going to end up doing it, but that's a big one. And the catching one, there's another one too for you a little bit, Suzuki and Stassi. That's interesting too, how he's going to work those two. So there's definitely some things to look at and see what Madden pulls out of his hat for that. What do you got, David?
Yeah, so I agree with both of those. And that's kind of worked itself out with Dexter Fowler gone, and I don't think Joe Adell's up right now. I think he's in the minors, which is probably where he needs to be. So that's kind of worked itself out. And then the catcher is interesting too. Suzuki, I think he's like 37 or 38, but he has quietly put together a great career, both offensively and defensively. And then you got Stassi, who's been there a little bit. And then I'll also say to keep an eye on the back end of that rotation. Cobb had a nice year last year. Can he continue that? And I think right now, if I'm not mistaken, they are doing the 6-man rotation with, trying to kind of hold Ohtani back. I think he's only had 3 starts so far. And like I said, he was super dominant. I think if I remember right, 13 innings, 27 strikeouts, but also 13 walks. And so that's where Ohtani, that's a problem. So you wonder if that would play up a little bit more in the bullpen. Would they be able to use him more? I don't know. Like I said, this just goes back to, is this whole experiment going to bleed over into chemistry? And you got the rotation's kind of on a, it's different. There's not I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. There's not a continuous rhythm to it, I would say. It's kind of hard to get in a rhythm. Mm-hmm. And so that's a big question mark for me, is how this whole Ohtani thing is going to play out. So DJ, tell me a little bit about Angel Stadium. I think you have been there, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
I have not. I went by it. No.
You were in California and you didn't go to Angel Stadium?
It's so true. I'm so mad. We were in San Diego and LA and drove on the freeway at about 2 miles an hour because that's what you do in LA.
Yeah.
You go 2 miles an hour and you watch. We probably got the best view of Angel Stadium. You get to sit there and watch it for 10 minutes when you go 0.2 miles when you're driving on the interstate there. It's pretty cool there in Anaheim. I did not get a chance to go there. They were not in town, even close to when we were with the Padres and Dodgers. So I was really bummed about that. And that kind of stinks because now I got to make a special trip just down to LA to hit the Angels when I was just there. And I wanted to go more, Giants and A's up there and kind of get that done in Northern California and not have to worry about Southern California anymore. But it is what it is. It looks really cool, man. And one of the things I just noticed about their field, the rocks in center field are pretty cool. If you take a closer look at them, David, one of those rocks is shaped like an Angels logo. I did not know that. It's pretty cool, man. No clue. Nicole pointed that out to me the other day. She's like, look at this, look at the rocks in center field and how the Angels logo is on one of the rocks. I'm like, what? So that's like, it's a hidden gem there. Pretty cool. But it looks like a lot of fun to go there. Looks like a really cool stadium. I'm a big fan of it. Didn't get to go to it at all, but I think it's definitely going to be a lot of fun to see. What do you think, David?
Yeah, I've always loved the stadium, the big remodel they did in 1998. I think it's cool that Disney was part of it. I'm not sure if they still are, but they were part owner of the team. And so, anytime you get Disney involved in something, it's going to be first class. I was reading about this stadium today, and I did not realize, I guess there's a halo around it. And when they win, home or away, the halo is lit up. I thought that was so cool, man. And I'm like, the fountains and the rocks in center field. I've always wanted to see this stadium. I didn't realize it's been around so long. It's been around, I think, since '65.
Yes.
And so it's cool that they've remodeled it. Since I lost the old Yankee Stadium, that's bothered me. And so I think it's cool that they've stuck with it. And anyway, it looks like a super awesome place. If I was a major leaguer and I was a free agent, I'm telling you, man, the Angels would be super high on my list. San Diego would be high on the list. Yeah. The Angels would be high on the list. Texas would be high on the list. I just think those parks are nice. The weather's nice.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm not a major leaguer. So maybe if Leland is a major leaguer,
there you go. Very appealing, man. It's amazing to see the transformation. I saw pictures of it from '65 just on TV the other day. Actually, when it started out, it was an absolute dump. Looked terrible. And then as the years have gone along, they've added to it. They've made more things. They've made it a more fan friendly. They made it a cooler experience. I love it, man. I think it's really cool. It's very unique too, which makes me like it even more. So, yep. I agree, man. Leland, when you make it to the pros, man, you gotta sign with the Angels, make us both happy.
That's right. But DJ, I skipped one there. I was searching on my page and missed one there. So let's talk about the farm system. So a little bit weak on the farm system. I'm seeing 21st overall, and I don't think they have any top 100 players. But is there someone in that farm system that could help out this year?
Yeah, Brendan Marsh is an interesting one. I like him a lot. He's an outfielder, 6'4", 215 pounds. He bats left and throws right. In his 3 seasons in the minors so far, he's got 21 bombs and 159 ribbies. I like the ribby number. Batting 288 with a 368 OBP. There's a little bit of a log jam right now in the outfield as far as, nobody's playing over Mike Trout ever until he falls off the face of the earth. Justin Upton's a solid player, and then you got, the younger guys there for the outfield spot too. So, but I don't, I would not be surprised to see Marsh up a little bit this year. They talked about him coming up a little bit. So I think that he's definitely in the mix as far as the outfield rotation goes. There's no doubt about it. Like he's got a good shot of making it this year. I'm a big fan of his as well. From everything I've been seeing, as far as his all his potential and all the prospects rankings that I've seen on him, they're very high on him as well. So I think, the beginning for him is coming very soon. He has not made it to the pros yet. He's been in, rookie ball a lot. Double-A he's been up to, which is the highest level he's been to so far. But I'm telling you, man, he seems to be like one of their top prospects and somebody we'll see very soon. Brandon Marsh. Remember that name. What do you got, David?
It's actually the same guy that I look up another one there real quick. He couldn't get it done, but I think this is cool because the Angels, they haven't been shy about spending money, and they've got some expiring contracts. Justin Upton has just one more year at $28 million. That's a lot of money for the production Justin Upton's been putting up, and obviously Pujols, I think this is his last year, so Walsh will be going there. They got Adele and Marsh to look at in Upton's spot, and so I think it's cool. They kind of got the pipeline going. Marsh was a 300 hitter at Double-A when he was there, and so like you said, he's right on the cusp. I think there's a pretty good chance that we see him this year. So DJ, it is trivia time. What do you got for me?
All right. Who is the all-time leader in career hits for the Angels?
All-time leader in career hits. I feel like you could go a lot of different directions here. Trout would have to be high on the list, I would think. And man, there's our old boy, Yankee murderer from back in the day, Garrett Anderson. I feel like he could be up there. I'm not sure if he was there long enough, though. I'm going to go with Trout.
Man, he should have gone with a Garrett.
Was that who it was?
Garrett Anderson.
Dude, he murdered the Yankees. He just straight up murdered the Yankees all those years. He was kind of like David Ortiz before David Ortiz. You know what I mean? He wasn't quite as clutch. But I swear, man, every big moment when he would come up, it was just like double, 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 double. It was so frustrating.
Machine.
Oh, absolutely. Daggone it.
You were close, man. You know what, though? Trout's going to pass him. So you named both of them. It's eventually going to be Trout. So I'll give you a lot of credit for that.
I just didn't think Garrett Anderson had been there. Trout, like you said, he's been there 9 years.
Yeah.
And, several of those years pretty close to the batting title if he didn't win them. I'm not even sure. Has he won a batting title?
I don't know that for a fact either, to be honest with you. That's an interesting
I have to look that up because he's been close a couple times.
He's been definitely been close. I mean, he's hitting he's hitting like 450 right now or something.
Oh, yeah, probably. That's real.
It's absolutely unreal, his slash line right now. And Garrett Anderson, though, David, you kind of forget that he played 15 years with the Angels.
15 years. I didn't realize that.
One with the Dodgers and one with Braves there at the end of his career. When he was 37 and 38, he left the Angels. So from the time he was 22 to 36, he was with the Angels. So long career with them. But Trout will eventually pass him. There's no doubt about that. But what an awesome career he had.
Yeah. All right, DJ. Most of this is in our era. There we go. It's late, okay? So top 10 Angels all-time home runs. Go.
Garrett Anderson.
3.
Mike Trout has to be there already.
1.
Troy Gloss.
6.
I should not be halting already.
Definitely not.
You got to go Pujols.
Tied for 4th.
Let's see here. Try to think of who the big boppers are, especially on that 2002 team. There was Garrett, there was Gloss, there was.
You're missing one.
I'm missing one. Is it right?
Long time Angel too.
Yeah. Dog, I was stuck on him particularly. While I'm thinking of that, I'm gonna go with man, this might not be right, but Wally Joyner on that list?
Nope.
Doggone it. No Wally
Joyner. Yeah. One of your all-time favorite players is on this list. I'm surprised you haven't gotten it.
Uh-oh. That makes me feel even worse. Well, that's got to be Edmonds then, right?
No. Unfortunately, I don't know how this is possible, but he's not on this list. He just wasn't there long enough.
Yuck, yeah.
He's an all-time great Cub, so. All right, I'm gonna help you out here. Tim Salmon.
Oh, Tim Salmon was the guy I couldn't think of from the 2002 team. That's for sure.
299 homers. Brian Downing, if I remember right, he was 80s type of guy. 222 homers. He's tied with Pujols. Here's your guy. I can't believe this. Vladimir Guerrero. And I know you're like me. It's hard to remember that he was an Angel sometimes because you always think about him being an Expo.
No, that's a bad one. That's terrible.
And then my boy Chili Davis. I loved it when he was with the Yankees there for a couple years.
Chili moved around so much. I would have never guessed him.
Yeah. Bobby Gritsch, never heard of him. And Don Baylor.
Don Baylor doesn't surprise me. That guy had a great career. Bobby Gritsch was a good ball player, man. He's not bad. So that doesn't surprise me either.
71 wins above replacement for Bobby Gritsch, and I've never heard of him.
Yeah, he's a good ball player, man. We were very young when he was a player, but nonetheless, very, very solid player.
Yep, interesting. Looks like he was with the Angels like 10 years. So anyway.
Yep, absolutely.
6-time All-Star. Anyway, this sounds like he was kind of the man there. I mean, he's got a Hall of Fame WAR right there. Now, he doesn't have enough hits or home runs or anything else. He must have been a stud on defense. But
Tim Salmon. Nice job, DJ.
All right, DJ. It's prediction time.
All right, so I gotta go. I'm with the Astros, so we already talked about this. The Astros are gonna be the representative in the World Series for the American League this year, so they're gonna win this division. However, I'm gonna stick with the Angel Guns here, going second place, making the playoffs. They're gonna make it. They're wild card bound. They're gonna lose to the Rays in the wild card, so they're gonna be very quick and out, unfortunately. But this is the year, man. I'm going to stick by my guns that the A's are going to choke this year and fall flat on their faces, and the Angels are going to overtake them and be a wild card team this year. Just way too much offense to not have something go right for them. Pick up some guys at the deadline on this pitching staff. Let's go. Let's go for it here. Put all the chips in. Be deadline buyers. Let's find some guys who are pitching really well. Like I heard today, the Giants have a ton of guys on one-year deals that are pitching awesome right now. Go get some of those Giants guys to help out in this rotation that are on one-year deals, and let's see what you can do this year. And let's battle for a wild card, and let's get beyond that. Let's go Angels. What do you got, David?
No way the Giants are going to trade the Angels. And they might be in it there. I'll tell you who is going to fall out of it that has a guy. Kyle Hendricks of the Cubs would look great. Red. The teardown is coming. We're now counting the days, the seconds. There might be a Yankee teardown too, and honestly, I don't care. But I'm really looking forward to this Cubs teardown. And hey, we saw that Anthony Rizzo could be a pretty good lefty. So you have Ohtani at the rotation, Rizzo coming in out of the bullpen from the left side. I mean, he's got one of the best hitters in baseball. So DJ, here's my prediction. I also have the Angels in the playoffs as the wild card team. I didn't put how far they would go, but I think this is the year that they're going to make it. But I'm starting to doubt myself. So we came up with all this, pretty early in the game, doing these podcasts real early actually. So I've always had the Angels in, but now I researched the A's out. We're going to talk about this on our next podcast. They got that good young pitching, and they got boppers too, and they got Bob Melvin. So I don't know. I'm still putting the Angels in for right now. But
don't doubt it, David. Don't doubt it.
They could be scratching my head a little bit, DJ. I mean, the A's, I think right now have the best record in baseball quietly. Won like 13 at one point and won 13 straight. So we'll see. But look out for Kyle Hendricks in A's uniform. I think they're going to trade. Let's see. They might trade Brandon Marsh over there for Kyle Hendricks. That might work out for you. I don't know. But I can't wait.
Okay.
I can't wait. I still think there's a really good chance that one of those players ends up with the Yankees. I'm super excited about it. They were talking about it on MLB today on the radio, how they thought that who's the Cubs catcher? I can't think of his name right now.
Wilson Contreras. You're going to trade him straight up for Gary Sanchez.
It's going to end up in pinstripes with the Yankees. So I'm not sure if I'm excited about that or not. As long as it gets rid of Gary Sanchez, I'm in. I would love to see Gary Sanchez in the Cubs uniform. with all those pass balls, it would just make my day so bright. So.
David, the Yankees are in last place. Stop talking.
Hey, I got to tell you something hilarious. So Leland comes in before the podcast. He asked me who we were doing and everything. He comes in there and his grandpa made him these blocks that are in his room, one for every baseball team. So he came in with his Cubs block. He said, "Daddy, I need to show DJ this block." And I said something like, "You don't actually like the Cubs, do you?" And he just had this funny look on his face. He said, "Don't worry, Daddy. They're just like my 5th favorite team."
Oh, my 5th.
I think secretly they're higher than 5th, but he knew that 5th would keep me from being too upset about it. So
That's awesome, man, because like me and you have 1 to 30 ranked in who we love from in a complete order. He's got a top 5. I like it. He's starting to extend a little bit. That's awesome.
Oh, man.
Very cool.
Well, DJ, it was good after probably about a month, honestly. Has it been about a month?
It has, man. It's been pretty close to it, I think. 3-4 weeks. We got 3 more to do of these things, so we got to pop them out quick as we can here. And then we're going to start doing. Then we're going to start doing a weekly show. We'll have guests back on. We'll start doing it once a week. We'll recap the week and everything like that. It'll be a lot of fun. But man, with us only having 3 more teams left, there's no way we can't finish this bad boy. So we'll get them done and we'll move on from there. So it's been a pleasure, David, as always.
Yep, as always. Yep. So like and share our YouTube page. We appreciate it. And keep those likes coming. Y'all have a good night.
All right. Good night, everybody.